Hello everyone, and welcome to the pitch presentation for a new Vanilla.js HTML game in Apollo called Cozy Crops. This is pitched today, October 6th of 2024, and we will be releasing it next year on February 9th of 2025, and this will be a co-led project between H Trayford and myself. So H will be our lead programmer for this one. He is a member development specialist. He is a 6-time game lead with Dream Racer, G-Type, Kung Fu, Xenojackets, Flipperball, and Dungeon Raiders. He's been a member since January of 2018. He is a 25-time game changer, and he's contributed to dozens of HomeTeam Game Dev games, mainly on the development side. He's also released 2 iOS games and a phaser game as a solo developer, and he's been featured in multiple game developer blogs. And down here in the corner, you can see that he has posted a picture of himself with his Mario high score. So that is our lead programmer. And then hi, I'm Cassidy. I'll be the lead artist for this one. I am a 14-time game changer and an 8-time project lead between Unreal, Godot, and Unity. But this will be my first JS HTML game, so I'm already learning a lot. I've contributed to over 20 home team projects. I've done 6 Game Jam games and 4 other solo releases. And then professionally, I'm a video game tester. So what is Cozy Crops? Cozy Crops, you are on a tiny island and you own a little farm. And so you can grow your crops, plant trees, renovate your house, upgrade your tools, go fishing, and explore the place that you call home. So it's going to be a casual, cozy game, but if you want to have an ending goal, we will have a museum that you can contribute to by either completing certain objectives, helping out the community, catching certain fish, or growing a certain amount of crops. So this is taking quite a bit of inspiration from Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon, and Animal Crossing, where we will be using a top-down pixel-style farming game with a shop system so the player can buy seeds, sell crops, and upgrade their tools. And so from the gameplay side of things, we will have the farming aspect of it, where you can plant your seeds, water your crops, harvest your crops, sell your crops, and buy more seeds. That is the cycle over there. We have a renovator aspect, where you can chop down trees, you can exchange those logs for upgrades to your house, and then you can organize and upgrade your house. We're marking that as kind of a stretch goal. The base iteration will just be buying bed 1 and then buying bed 2, which will replace bed 1. But if we can get a style where we can drag and drop pieces of furniture, that would be great. And then lastly, we have an explorer aspect where we can go fishing, we can learn about the island, do some community projects, and visit your neighbors. So let's see what we have going on in the demo already. This is our current title screen. We have our start button here, and I already have a saved file in here, so we will do that one. So this is my little character here. We're using the arrow keys to move. And we have a little bit of an animation cycle on top of our player here. But this is your current farm, this little greenhouse right here. The tan/yellow areas is where you can plant your crops. The blue area is for water, where you can fill up your watering can. And then green is for grass down there. We have some collision going on around here. We have pathways and other types of tiles, like this is rock with a bit of a cliff face there. We have some bridges and some other smaller islands. Up here in the top left, we have an example of a crop cycle. So I'm standing on top of the seeds, which is really hard to see on top of the gray shirt. But you can see a couple of dots right there. That is an example of planting seeds into the ground. We have a 25% growth for this particular plant. Then we have a 50% growth. I think this is either cabbage or lettuce. Then we have a 75% growth. And then a 100% growth, which would be ready to harvest. And then if you harvest it, you'd be able to add it to your inventory, which is right down here. And then if you fail to water your crops, then they'll turn into a dead plant, which is right down there. So we'll have several different types of crops and several different types of trees, so that we can have several different types of food. So working our way east a little bit, we have some rocky areas and some houses up here in the cliff face. We have some stalagmites, since they're growing out of the ground up here, along with a bit of a dock and a pier. And then off to the east, we have a couple of more houses and a couple of more islands that we can go and visit our neighbors with a couple more cliffs. We have some waterfalls right over here, and then in the middle of town, which is right next to your house, you will have the shopping area. So we have like a grocery store up here that you'll be able to sell your crops to. We have a carpentry store that you can upgrade your house from. And then we'll have a blacksmithing area where you can upgrade your tools so that way you can farm faster or like chop down trees more efficiently. And then we have a couple more houses right down here. So that is the island that we have. We have our inventory row right down here. Up here in the top right, you can see this red bar right here. That is our player's stamina. So if the player runs out of stamina, they'll need to go to sleep. We also have a year, a week, and a day cycle. So I think if I remember the cheat keys up here, the I key will skip ahead 1 day. I think we currently have 9 days in a given month or like in a given season. So if I were to press I again, then it will increment to 9. And then if I press I one more time, we should see this week reset to 1, and we should see our season change right down here. So then we can keep doing that, and you can see that after we hit through the end, we have a total of 3 seasons. And once you make it through 3 seasons, then you will increase a year right up here. And we have different cheat keys for like advancing a season or like advancing years. And then we also have a hotkey to like increase our money right through here. So that way it allows some quick testing for once we plant crops. We don't have to manually go to sleep each day. We can just advance time and then quickly jump ahead to when the crops are made. I do want to reload the page here so that way we can show quick testing elements. We were just looking at this file. I can press C to clear it out, and then we can do a new game here, and we can enter the name of a different farm. And then you could do your character customization screen. Eventually we'd like to have some minor multiplier elements right over here. So we can change our shirt color right over here and some pant colors, and then we can press start. And now we have a different character with a different farm, and we reset our date and reset our money and reset our stamina. So that's a way to quickly test multiple different save files. So I think that's everything for inside of the demo. So next we have our Vikunja board right over here, and we have our inspiration right through here. We have a couple of reference docs over here and like the general vibe that we are going for right over here. I also have an economy breakdown sheet right here, which walks through, we have our map right here. So if you were to change an item in one of these cells, so like 2, then it will change it to like water, or 6, which will change it to a building type of structure. So this is a way to quickly visualize how our map is going to look before we import it into the game. And then we also have a breakdown of the different types of crops that we want to have, what they are going to cost, their selling price, their value per day, if they are a repeatable crop or not. So it's our economy system, so we don't overwhelm it with a certain type of crop or like undervalue a certain type of crop. So there's a way to get involved that's a little bit non-traditional for HomeTeam, is having the economy balancing. But in the first couple of weeks, we want to try to get the core loop finished, which will be like planting crops in the ground and then harvesting them, and then tracking our time of day, having our tools be functional, and then having the player be able to pick up like foraging items on the ground, tracking our inventory, adding like a sprinkler system, and adding a fertilizer system. So then once that core loop is done, then we will move into the end game conditions, which will be like our museum. So we'll get the end game state in there, where if the player completes a certain amount of objectives, then they can hit like an end game screen. After that, we'll move into like the multiplayer aspect of it to make sure that we can have some friends joining us in there. Then after the Thanksgiving holidays, we'll be able to work into like the home decorating aspect of it to be able to add several different types of furniture and wallpaper and flooring. That way you can have your own humble abode in there. And then we will work on the NPC aspect of it and the fishing aspect of it towards the back end of the year. We'll slow it down just a little bit so that way we have time to spend time with family and friends. And then we have a couple of slower weeks toward the end, so that way we can allow time for playtesting and in case any tasks get cascaded on the back end. So that is our Vikunja. So we have a couple of ways to get involved here. We have lots of programming. We have our day and calendar systems that way we can track plant growth and market changes. We have our store systems that we can buy and sell items, which stems from our inventory system of adding and removing items. We have our decorating system of going into the house and being able to drag and drop certain things, which would be inside of the player's home. We want to create like a map editor so that way we don't have to go through the Excel sheet and then import the file and then reload the page to make sure everything's working out the way that it needs to. If we could just do it in-game, that'd be faster. And we also want to do multiplayer, so we can have two people on the same keyboard so we can figure out what they share and what they do not share. As touched on earlier, we also want to touch on an economy. So we have the start of the economy through each of these different pages right down here, but it can always be tweaked and added to. We have so much art to do. We have lots of crops and lots of trees in each of their stages of growth. We have the UI icons for inventory and menus and buttons, animations for tools, and like if you were to walk through crops and like water moving back and forth. We have building interiors, so if you want nice and static elements, we could work on that. We have characters, which are stemming from the same like character file, so we can just take a chunk of those, and then we have a person. We want to have like a weather system, so that way it's rainy or it's cloudy or it's sunny. And then we also want to have like a dialogue system so that we can talk to the different NPCs. From the audio side of things, we want lots of sound effects for like button clicks or like using the tools or like planting crops or picking up crops. And then music, we would like a nice like casual and laid back type of cozy environment for farming. So that is Team.js Cozy Crops. So if you want to be involved in the Apollo team, we will gladly get you added to the channel, and let's build a nice cozy farm together.